All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about a skill that's way more than just a simple productivity hack. It's pretty much the secret to making great decisions. We're going to get into the art of prioritization and figure out how to finally choose what truly matters.
So, does this sound familiar? Your to-do list is a mile long, and every single thing on it feels like it's a top priority, screaming for your attention right now. It's a super common feeling, right? Being pulled in a million different directions at once. But here's the thing. When everything is a priority, nothing is. And look, that's not just a frustrating feeling. It has some serious consequences. When you don't prioritize well, you're pretty much guaranteed to be wasting time, money, and energy on the wrong stuff. It leads to missed deadlines and that feeling that you're just spinning your wheels, always busy, but never actually making real progress.
So, how do we fix this whole mess? Well, it all starts with the very first step. You have to define your goals. I mean, before you could figure out which tasks to do first, you need to know where you're even going. Think of your goals as a compass. Without one, you're just wandering around. But with one, suddenly every decision about which path to take gets a whole lot clearer. Really, this is all about creating a powerful filter for yourself. Before any new task or project even gets a chance to land on your plate, you've got to ask these questions. Does this thing actually help us reach our main goal? How will we even know if we've succeeded? And hey, does this shiny new idea really fit into the bigger picture? Answering these questions, that's the foundation of smart prioritization. Okay, so once our goals are crystal clear, it's time to open up the toolkit. We're going to look at 3 really powerful, proven frameworks that'll help you cut through all that noise and make choices that are strategic, not just reactive. First up, we've got a classic, the Eisenhower Matrix. The absolute genius of this tool is how it forces you to face a really common trap we all fall into. We mistake what's urgent for what's actually important. This framework helps you pull those two things apart. So here's how it works. You take every task and drop it into one of these 4 boxes. If it's urgent and important, you do it right now, no question. If it's important but not urgent, you schedule it. This is where the real strategic work gets done. Now, if it's urgent but not really important, you delegate it, get it off your plate. And if it's neither, you just get rid of it. It's such a simple way to get back in control. For example, just picture a marketing team. A big website redesign is definitely important, no doubt. But launching a campaign that's tied to a specific holiday? That's both important and urgent. The Matrix makes the choice obvious. The campaign has to happen now, and the redesign can be scheduled for later. See? Instant clarity. But, what happens when you have multiple, huge projects all competing for attention? That's where our next tool comes in. It's called the weighted scoring method, and it's perfect for this. It basically takes the guesswork and emotion out of big decisions by using data to rank your options. Here's the breakdown. First, you and your team decide what criteria matter most, things like potential return on investment or how well it aligns with your strategy, and you give each one a weight. Then, you score each project against those criteria. So in this example, even though Project B looks easier to do, Project A is the clear winner because it scores so much higher on the things that matter most, like ROI and alignment. This method forces you to turn those vague feelings into cold, hard numbers. Our third tool, the Moscow method, is amazing for preventing something we all dread, scope creep. That sneaky way a project just keeps getting bigger and bigger. This method is a favorite for software teams, but honestly, it works for just about anything by sorting all the features or requirements into really clear buckets. The name itself is an acronym: must have, should have, could have, and won't have. Your must-haves are totally non-negotiable. The project is a failure without them. Should-haves are important, but not absolutely vital. Could-haves are the nice-to-haves, the bells and whistles you add if there's time. And won't-haves? Well, you explicitly agree to put those on the back burner. This brings so much clarity to what you're actually building. Okay, so these frameworks are awesome, but they don't work in a vacuum. To really, truly master prioritization, you have to add the human element. You have to refine and collaborate. It's a process that needs context, conversation, and a whole lot of teamwork. So before you commit to anything, you've got to weigh the pros and cons. What's the best case scenario if this thing totally succeeds? But then you have to ask, what could go wrong? And maybe most importantly, what are you giving up by choosing to do this? That's the opportunity cost, and it is a massive piece of the puzzle. And remember, prioritization is absolutely a team sport.
You need to talk to leadership to make sure you're all pointing in the same direction. You have to work with the people on the ground to understand what's even possible. And then, once a decision is made, you have to communicate it clearly so everyone gets on board and starts pulling together. And finally, please remember this. A decision you make today might not be the right one a month from now. I mean, the world changes, right? New information comes in. You have to be willing to review your priorities all the time and be agile enough to pivot when you need to. Your priority list should be a living, breathing document, not something carved in stone. So, with all that said, let's see what this looks like when it's all put together. Let's look at a really powerful, real-world example of how these principles can create a huge strategic advantage. At Amazon, pretty much all prioritization revolves around one single, incredibly powerful idea: customer obsession. And this isn't just some fluffy marketing slogan, it is the ultimate filter for every major decision that company makes. This one principle makes even the hardest decisions pretty simple. A massive project like one-day Prime delivery? That's a huge yes because it directly makes the customer's life better. Some other project with a fuzzy, unclear benefit for the customer? It gets pushed way down the list. That simple rule creates an insane amount of focus for a company that big. So here it is. This is your 5-step playbook. First, define your goals. Second, use a framework to get clear. Third, weigh the risks and rewards. Fourth, get your team aligned. And fifth, always be ready to review and adapt. This isn't a one-time trick. It's a process you can use over and over to make better decisions. Ultimately, this is what it all comes down to. The whole point isn't to be the busiest person or to check off the most boxes on a list. The goal is to make sure that your energy, your time, and your resources are all going into the handful of things that will create the most impact. And that leaves us with one final thought. After all this, I want you to ask yourself, based on your real goals, on what truly matters, what's the one thing you should really be working on right now? The answer to that question, well, it just might change everything for you.